think it's pretty straightforward what we're trying to do here, and I'd urge you to adopt AM 40. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Moorfeld. Senator Schumacher.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the body. I'm scratching my head. I think I've read through the whole bill. I'm not infallible on such subjects and maybe have missed something, but I do not, on Friday and do not again today, see anywhere in here where this has anything to do with abortion, with fetuses, with zygotes, with prenatal anything. I cannot find a mention of that in here. It says that on page 11, at line 3, it basically says the department shall create designs reflecting support for the protection of Nebraska's children, and that those things will be called Choose Life plates. They could be called little kitty plates, but whatever, that's just a label for what the department is supposed to do. Now, we don't give in the green copy much guidance as to what kind of topics the department should use, but we did pass an amendment moments ago that said what this focus is about. It's about child abuse, and it's about assistance for needy families. Now, while we could do a better job of directing the department to design plates in support of getting rid of child abuse and promoting assistance for needy families, we might have done enough with that amendment. Will Senator Watermeyer yield to a question?
Senator Watermeyer, will you yield?
Yes, to Senator Schumacher.
Thank you, Senator Watermeyer. Senator Watermeyer, anywhere in here, is there anything about abortion, about life before birth, anything at all?
I didn't think so, unless you found something in it that I was unaware of.
Okay, so this is, it's not our intent to get into that realm with this bill. Is that correct?
That's my, yes.
Okay, so what do you envision then as the message, the design that the department would come up with?
Well, I had a plate that was of a suggested plate. I mean, I had that in the paper this weekend. It was shown to me. I don't want to bring an exhibit up on the floor. I don't think that's proper. But that was the idea, that the DMV would be charged with creating the plate with, I think, past examples from other states that they could use as a example. But it would have to say Choose Life, because that is one part of the statute we were putting on there.
Where is it written in this statute that this plate has got to use the word Choose Life?
Well, I guess I should say that that was the intent of it, and I'm watching other bills. We modeled this after the Mountain Lion bill, and that was what we decided was probably the most current example of what we had passed in previous sessions. So we modeled it off the Mountain Lion bill.
Well, I would think that if we're going to require these plates to say Choose Life, we should say so, because it doesn't say that right now. It says they will create designs reflecting support for the protection of Nebraska's children. And that's a pretty broad delegation of authority, probably unconstitutional, except for the fact of your amendment, which says child abuse and needy families are what you're talking about. So are we limiting the department's discretion to addressing the issues of child abuse and needy families with this legislation?
Can I respond to that?
Yes.
Coming back to page 11 on line 4, it says the department shall design license plate to be known as Choose Life license plates. That's not in quotes, but I assume that's direction enough for that.
And what is that direction? Does the next line, the next sentence, the department shall create designs reflecting support for the protection of Nebraska's children, does that define a Choose Life plate?
I think the first sentence does to me, but if we need to amend that to say that more specifically with quotes, I mean, I'd be open to that suggestion. But
well, that they're known as that, it doesn't say that state that they will, that the plates will state Choose Life. It doesn't say that.
I will acknowledge you, Professor Schumacher, that certainly that would be something you could choose to look at in that light. But I would look at it and says the plate ought to say choose life. But with your comments, I can understand why you would think that.
Thank you, Senator Watermeyer. At the very minimum, if this thing isn't restricted now to needy families.
Time, Senators.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Shoemaker and Senator Watermeyer. Senator Pansing Brooks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, here we are on these bills that are, of course, greatly controversial. I have an amendment. I think it's something like 30th or something, or I have no idea. It's so far down that we will never get to it. But I want to ask Senator Watermeyer a question.
Senator Watermeyer, will you yield?
Yes.
Senator Watermeyer, have you seen my amendment?
I have not. I'm sorry, because you said we wouldn't get to it.
Funny. Well, it adds to it adds the words to have an end rape culture license plate as well. And so, do you consider that a friendly amendment?
No, I don't. And the fact that it hasn't had a public hearing in that regard, if you'd have a decision about stop rape culture, that ought to have a hearing on its own. And so anything like that would be an amendment on the bill.
Okay, thank you so much. So again, my friends, what we have here is, as Senator Christ has said, as Senator Chambers has said, as Senator Walz beautifully said, we have speech that we are promoting as a state. And this is an attempt, and as Senator Moorfield has said, this is an attempt to have state-sanctioned speech, because that's what we're doing. If the government creates license plates, we all agree that the veterans should be celebrated, and I don't think that's a problem for the state to do that. We agree last year that breast cancer awareness is important and that people need to have mammograms and be tested. So that was determined to be okay. But again, it's speech. So if we start down, I don't even think it's a slippery slope. If we start the nosedive to supporting all sorts of speech that is considered controversial, I think it's wrong. In actuality, I'm really not against the Choose Life plate, that message, because I'm a pro-choice woman. So I'm in favor of people who decide to choose life. That's the choice. Exactly. You got it. That's awesome. Choose life, or choose to handle your life according to what you need to do and keep the government out of the business of legislating about a woman's body. So yeah, go ahead, choose life. I have no problem with that. But then in the same instance, allow pro-choice. Allow people to say end rape culture. We can go down the whole slope, the slippery slope. And by the way, with 250 signatures, those who want to bring this plate can apply to get the plate. So go for it. Why does this need to be state-sanctioned speech? Why? I'm not bringing a pro-LGBT issue license plate and saying you all have to support it and stand on it, although I guess I will next year. I guess it's a good idea. We're going to go down the slope of just, I mean, think of